Well, yeah, I already gave my thoughts on this. I'm just kind of rehashing it because I want to go over what this was really about, right? Because again, I want to remind people this woman was hired as a voice actor. She doesn't work for Sandfall Interactive. She literally got hired to do some lines, and she's very good at her job. But unfortunately, she's a woke retard. You know what I mean? And again, I don't care about your politics as long as you don't put that shit in the video game. I made it very clear yesterday, and I'm going to make it clear again today. I don't care about this. This is her virtue signaling to her other retards at the show because nobody was clapping for her until she started talking about how gay she was. And then all of a sudden people were like, yes, queen. Yes, eat that pussy, girl. You know, like that. That's what it was. Anyway. Check this out.
Mayal embarks on this crazy journey. She chooses to live a life that wasn't serving her. And I did that a few years ago. And I chose instead a life that was authentic, a life that was gay. I fell in love with a beautiful woman who's crying her eyes out right now. It's really funny. And I chose queer joy. And as a result of that queer joy, I felt safe enough to pour my grief and pain and all that nonsense and joy and love into this incredibly beautifully written character. And I am so proud of that. And I just want to thank Queer Joy for that.
All right, so obviously, again, like extremely cringe. Nobody cares. Like literally, nobody fucking cares, right? And I want to remind people.
Mayal embarks on this crazy journey. She chooses.
Nobody was cheering for her. Silence, right?
Chooses to live a life that wasn't serving her.
Silence.
And I
Silence.
did that a few years ago.
Silence.
And I chose instead a life that was authentic, a life that was...
Nobody clapped for her when she said a life that was authentic. Nobody clapped. Nobody clapped because the entire crowd was like, so, you know, you're a cisgender white woman. Are you talking about authentically sucking dick or like what's going on? I need more context. So nobody was clapping. And then the moment she says...
a life that was gay.
Wee! Everybody goes crazy in the fucking chat, bro. Like, not in the chat, in the audience. Everybody, they're like, oh, she's a muff diver. She's a muff diver. Yay. Yay. Yes, slay queen. Slay queen.
Hey. I fell in love with a beautiful woman who's crying her eyes out right now. It's really funny. And
they literally are. They don't stop cheering for her now.
I chose queer joy, and
you hear people clapping, and it's like, bro, okay, you chose queer joy. Congratulations. Again, this is why, bro. You know, I was watching New Blackstreet, and I was laughing because Atreus was like, if he ever got an award, he would just talk about all the pussy he's fucking like nonstop, right? And I got to be real with you. If I won an award, I would go up to that stage and I would make all of these gay people uncomfortable. Straight up. I would be so descriptive. It would blow their minds. I would go up to the stage and talk about exploring the vaginal love tunnels. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would make them feel so disgusted by the amount of heterosexual nonsense. Like, I'm telling you, it would just be ridiculous. I would literally go up there and I'd be like, so is this where we talk about who we're fucking? Great. I got a story for you, crowd. And I bet you they would turn my microphone off and rush me off the stage. It's like, bro, nobody wants to hear this shit, man. Nobody wants to hear this shit. It's just so ridiculous, man. So again, I want to make it very clear. This has nothing to do with the fucking game, okay? This is a woke retard being a woke retard. And thankfully, ladies and gentlemen, she was hired to do the voice lines, which she's very good at. She was not hired to write the character, which she didn't. Somebody else much smarter than her, who actually works at Sandfall Interactive, wrote the character, right? So thankfully, she's a one and done kind of hire. She gets, she gets hired for her services and she moves on with her fucking life, But this is what I mean by people who are in the industry that overshare things. Nobody, not that I know of anyway, except for other people like this, which is why she's doing it, because I'm going to explain exactly why she's doing this in a second. Nobody cares. Nobody normal cares about who you're sleeping with. The fact that you go up on an award show and the first thing you want to talk about is the pussy you're eating, that's crazy, bro. I think that's crazy. That is just as crazy as if a dude who's straight went up there to accept his award and talked about the girl that he fucked the night before. It is just as ridiculous. Absolutely fucking ridiculous. It is insane. Nobody cares. And only you people care. That is it. Only you people care. And then you get mad and then you end up shadowboxing people on Twitter, your little shills. And that's what we're going to go over right now. Your little shills on Twitter, they'll shadowbox and they'll be like, oh, the anti-wokes are going to be really mad about this. I can't wait to see the anti-wokes melt down. Nobody's melting down, bro. Nobody's melting down. Imagine if, oh my God, Smash Cheese just said it. I was going to say it. I was going to say it. He said it, but I was going to say it. Holy fuck, we're spot on with that one. Imagine if this girl went on stage and she talked about how many dicks she deep-throated. Imagine that. Imagine that. Imagine this fucking woman went on stage and she's like, I found dick sucking joy. I found joy. The more inches I was able to take down my throat, the better. It was because of that joy, I was able to act. The trauma with my L. It's like, what? Come on, bro. What are we doing? And then at the end, she's like, thank you for this award. And because because I, as my L, I acted this character. It was so amazing. And, and she swallows. It's unbelievable, bro. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Anyway, so it would be highly, highly uncomfortable, obviously. It's like nobody cares. Nobody wants to hear this shit. Keep it to yourself. And you know what's funny? She said that she found queer joy a couple of years ago, which means that she decided a couple of years ago that she was going to live her life as a gay woman. So up until that point, she was getting ransacked. She probably still is getting ransacked, to be honest with you. But she was getting absolutely destroyed in every single hole by males. I would bet money on that. So anyway, all that being said, here's the reason why this happened, okay? The reason why this happened is because look at where she's at. She's center stage at, for all intents and purposes, the Temu Game Awards, right? Where the Golden Joystick Awards is more, and I said this yesterday, the Golden Joystick Awards is more woke than the actual Game Awards because Jeff Keighley, the one thing he likes more than anything is money. And he knows that Republicans buy shoes too. Does that make sense? Obviously, there are certain things that happen at the Game Awards that is obviously politically driven. For example, Hogwarts Legacy getting snubbed at the Game Awards. Pretty obvious why that happened, right? But aside from that, he toes the line because he's trying to make as much money as possible. Jeff Keighley's not fucking stupid, and he knows that he's trying to make as much as he can. But the Golden Joystick, they don't make any money. They like, if you look at their showcase, it's pathetic. So they make no money. And so it's all about ideology for them. It's all about circle jerking each other. And she was center stage in front of all the people who think like her, talk like her, act like her, and everything, who sexuality is the number one thing for them. It's the only thing to them. That's their entire identity. So she's shouting it out on this stage, right? Now, this is why she did it, because you got people like this who they take a clip like this and they're so fucking fake, bro. This is all performative fake nonsense. It is performative fake nonsense, every single one of it. Every single one of these comments that are on Twitter are completely, utterly fake. They're fake. You got this person saying, I don't think you guys realize how huge this is. Maybe you do. But for a queer woman, not only to win, but to be open and vocal and happy about it in the video games industry, that is huge. Jennifer, I love my girlfriend English. You deserve it and more. So what they're trying to imply is that apparently in the gaming industry, you can't be openly gay? Since fucking when? Since when can't you be openly gay, queer, whatever word you want? You could. Since when? That is literally the easiest thing you could do in the gaming industry right now. What are you doing? They do it all the time. It's just another day. You know what's being brave in the gaming industry? Coming out as a MAGA. If I see somebody go on the award show and they say Donald Trump for president, I'm MAGA, that is more brave than anybody talking about how gay they are in the gaming industry. 100%. It is not even close. They're trying to make it seem as if the gaming industry is somehow homophobic, misogynistic, whatever word you want to use. And it's like, bro, who are you trying to sell this story to? Who are you trying to sell this story to, bro? This entire industry. Look at the award show. Look at the award show. Who are you trying to sell this to? If you look at the crowd, there are a bunch of fucking gay, lesbian people all over the place. There are trans people. There are more trans people in the award show than there is probably in the entire country. Bro. Anyway, so what I was trying to say is that the reason why she did this is because she knew. They all know. The Golden Joysticks, they couldn't wait to clip this. You know they clipped this, right? The Golden Joystick Awards, they clipped it and they posted it on their X almost immediately because they knew. They knew it was one big performance. She's a voice actress. You don't think she knows how to perform? Of course she does. And if you look here, Little Lucky Cosplay, I fell in love with a beautiful woman who's crying her eyes out right now. It's really funny. Jennifer English accepted a speech at the Golden Joystick was a love letter to whoever that is. I'm not even going to bother showing her name. It's not important. Obviously, people are laughing. Gay. Oh my God, bro. It's hilarious. I cannot hear Shadowheart when she speaks. Listen, I'm not going to lie to you, okay? The woman does great work. She's a great voice actress. She has voiced some of the most popular characters in recent times. And she's also going to be working on Tides of the Annihilation. Again, I don't care about your fucking politics. I don't care about your sex life. I don't care about any of that. It is the most uninteresting thing to me that you could possibly talk to me about. I don't care. If you don't put that in the game, I have no problems with you. And at the end of the day, she's a voice actor, so she doesn't have any fucking say, really, over the lines that get written or anything like that. Thankfully, at Sandfall Interactive, there are better people who are working over there, at least for right now anyway. If something happens with their sequel, then we can cross that bridge when we get there. But as of right now, the game is amazing. It is one of the best games I've ever played. And it's going to stay that way, with or without how much fucking like vagina this woman eats. That means nothing to the game, nothing to the studio. Take your award. Go thank your God. Go thank your agent. And sit the fuck down. Right, Ricky Gervais? Seriously, go take your award, thank the people you want to thank, and sit the fuck down, bro. You want to talk about eating vagina? Go do it. Go do it when you guys are like at dinner with all the other wokies in the crowd. 95% of this crowd is probably women anyway. Sincerely, 95% of the crowd is probably women. Every single person in this shot is a woman already. And this is only one small shot. Guaranteed most of the crowd is women. So you can eat a lot of ass. That was probably her goal. She was like, let me ramp up the women. Let me get them emotionally, let me get them emotionally connected with my speech. And then at the after party, maybe I could score. You know, maybe I could score a little bit. God, these people are so uninteresting. How are you the voice actress of some of the 3 most popular characters right now in gaming? And the thing you want to talk about on stage is how much ass you eat. That is fucking crazy. I will never understand that. I don't care if you're straight, gay, whatever. I just will never, never, never understand that. There is so many more interesting things that you could talk about as somebody who has voiced 3 interesting characters that people like, but you chose to talk about eating ass, bro. Oh my God. Why? We all know why, because this is what it is. So this kind of an ideology, I've said it all the time, right? This kind of an ideology is constant upkeep. You have to constantly upkeep this ideology in front of you and your friends, right? Like if you have this kind of ideology, you have to, because if you don't, eventually they're going to come after you. So every once in a while, you have to basically go out there and pledge loyalty. You got to pledge loyalty to the God that is whatever this is. Because if you don't, they think silence is violence. This is what these people think. So if you're silent on this, and if you're not talking about it 24/7, they're going to look at you like you're weird. So they have to do this. So this is their currency. This is like, okay, I did my virtue signal moment. I'm good for the next 6 months or so. Or 6 months to a year, and at the next award show, I'll do it again. And you gotta keep doing it. Otherwise, you get exited out of the cult. You can call me crazy, but that's how I see it. That's how I see it. So anyway, I just wanted to talk about this because it was stupid. It was retarded as always, and it just is what it is. Let's catch up on super chats. Let me X that out. It's so stupid. Look at this, bro. Oh my God, I forgot to show this. Hold on, wait, we're not done. Hold on. Look at this. Honestly, and again, these profile pictures, they speak for themselves, okay? These are fake accounts. These are all literally fake accounts that push this nonsense. This person says, honestly, seeing a queer woman being so unapologetically queer and happy and in love in such a homophobic and misogynistic sphere like video games is really, really beautiful and heartwarming to see. Bro, what?
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying?
What? Are you insane? Are you insane? Video games industry being homophobic, misogynistic? Really? Bro, do you know what industry you're talking about? This is what I'm telling you, man. These people shadow box, bro. They shadow box whatever. Like, they just make up an enemy in their mind, and they spend all day on Twitter fake fighting that enemy. That's all they do. That's literally all they do. They fake fight the enemy in their mind and pretend like it's real. And then when they get evidence that that's not true, they call you a grifter because they thought that you were like that, because that's what they've been fighting the whole time. Instead of just admitting that, hey, maybe you guys were just fighting this bullshit version of whatever the fuck you're thinking in your mind. It's crazy, bro. Anyway, let me X this out. So fucking stupid. So stupid. But Expedition 33 is still amazing. So there you go.